No, honestly, that is nonsense. Nonsense. All nonsense.
They say many garbage things.
You don't know what you're going to get.
Melodrama upon melodrama!
This is utter, shameful, disgraceful piece of nonsense.
He was miles off it yesterday.
You'll learn a lot more if you listen rather than talk all
Plenty
the
of
time.
time, no problem.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a No Nonsense podcast. What are we calling this, Will?
I've been calling it the summer of film, but that's not very football-y, is it?
I was thinking for my cinema,
Yeah.
for our sins, for our cinephiles. I don't know, something football related.
You know what we could call it?
Football, movie.
We could
what?
bring back an old segment. I think that was only on the Ultras ever heard. You know what's a good movie?
Well, that's probably not a good name for this. This might be the best film we review. It's certainly probably the most famous. It is, of course, the cult film 2002's Bend It Like Beckham.
Roll the trailer.
Some girls only want one thing.
Eyes down. Look sad. Indian bride never smiles. You ruin the bloody video.
Jess Bamra wants something more.
Shoot the ball. Your sister's getting engaged and you're sitting here watching this skinhead boy.
You must start behaving like a proper woman.
You're right. Yeah. One more day of freedom. I was married at your age. You don't even want to learn how to cook dal.
I'm joining a girls' team.
Hi, rubber.
What is wrong with you, Jess? Now, you're quite pretty, you know. Do something with your hair and put a bit of makeup on. You look all right.
Whoops. From the award-winning director of Bargy on the Beach and What's Cooking.
I can see what you're up against, but your parents don't always know what's best for you, Jess.
Oh, no, sweetheart, not the sports bras. Pump, pump, pump. Just like a Lila.
Even these mosquito bites will look like juicy mangoes.
And bending all the rules.
Anyone could go alu gobi, but who can bend a ball like Beckham?
Bend it like Beckham.
Mrs. Bamra, you must be very proud of your daughter.
Not at all. And you three shouldn't encourage her.
Yeah, so I guess this summer we're going to be reviewing a host of footballing movies. At one stage, I thought, I don't know if there'll be enough. On more research and recommendations, there's maybe too many.
Yep.
You know, for one summer, if it's successful, we'll keep going, of course. But yeah, I mean, we open up to a poll and we land on Bend Like Beckham for the first one. I watched this in 2 parts, Will.
I know exactly what you did. It's a long film.
It's long enough. Maybe it's my attention span is fucked. Hopefully that's the secondary goal of this series, to regain my sense of attention, because it's hard to watch something for a long time. But I watched it an hour, the first hour, and then watched the second hour during my lunch break. And honestly, look, this is a good film. You know, it's not a bad film. For what it's trying to do in terms of, you know, speaking on the kind of the social norms and the cultural differences between Indians and English people at the time. And this is, I think, very important, is that, you know, sometimes films like that can become dated because, like, just the stuff they're doing is like, oh, none does that anymore. But because it's so intentionally like social commentary, it's like, this is what life is like here today in 2002. So when you look back, it's like you're not looking back and like, this is so old. It's like they're trying to give you a time capsule of what it was like back then.
Yeah.
And I think it achieves that.
Yeah, it's really good. Like, at points, I know there was one stage, I have it in the notes somewhere, but I was watching, I took the note down where it's like, I can see why this is like a cult classic. Because even there was one scene, I can't remember what it was, but just the way they were talking about something is like, this actually feels quite different to most films. Like,
yeah,
it does a very good job where there's kind of every single person in the film is both a bad and a good guy.
Yeah, there's very few like characters with speaking roles that are like bad, you know, in terms of like underdeveloped. Now there is a category for that we'll get into, but I think most people
we'll save those till the end. Yeah,
yeah. But I think most people like, you know, they're not like just filler. Everyone has a purpose in the story, and they round it out well. I guess the biggest thing about this film is David Beckham, even though he's not in it.
You would think coming into the film, and within the first few minutes, you think, my God, I can't wait for this David Beckham cameo. It's gonna set this thing over the top.
Yeah,
I know he's gonna give her the words of encouragement or something. There's a lot of times where
think Lance Armstrong in Dodgeball.
Exactly. There's a lot of times where the film will hard cut to like a jump scare of David Beckham's face because she's normally talking to the big And at the start of the film, it gives the vibe where it does this weird slow zoom into Beckham's face while the harp plays that we use to show transitions between time. And I thought, is Beckham some kind of like magical genie figure in this movie that I've forgotten?
I thought for sure he was going to appear in her mind to her.
Exactly.
Obviously, he would appear in the movie, but that never really happened. There was one scene at the end where there was a quote unquote cameo, and according to Wikipedia, because of scheduling issues, Dave Beckham was portrayed by lookalike Andy Harmer, and his wife was played by Jill Penny.
Yeah, and you could tell it's a very strange cameo. We'll get to how the cameo happens because you need to hear kind of what's going on in the film to understand.
Well, look, everyone's seen it. Will, it's a cult classic. You know, we've all seen the movie 100 times. I do. Did you remember watching this in cinemas? Did you watch this in cinemas?
I don't know if I watched it in cinema. I do vaguely remember watching it when I was younger, though. But I don't think I saw it in the cinema.
Yes.
I think I might have rented it, maybe.
Because I feel this is the kind of thing that your dad would bring you to, doing no research. Like, we'll love this. And I was like, absolutely. I'm so sorry, son. I didn't know it was about women.
Yeah.
Because I have a vivid memory of thinking, oh, cool, David Beckham film. And then, it was on a DVD at a cousin's house or whatever. I was like, what is this? You know? What is this? This is all talking and feelings and stuff. Where's David Beckham? You know, and you see pictures of him like... but yeah, it was a much bigger film than they thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And they started... You know, it came out in 2002. So you're thinking, oh, this is like, you know, a year shy of Real Madrid Dave Beckham. Your post 98 World Cup. He's back winning titles with Man United. Like, he is, you know, 26 years of age. He's with
Victoria Beckham.
The Spice Girls. Victoria Beckham. Have they had the marriage at this point? I think they might have.
Well, he has the shaved head already, so I think he still had the blonde locks when they got married.
Yeah, he did go back to blonde locks.
That's
I don't know what the time. We should watch the documentary again.
Review that again, then watch Bend It Like Beckham again.
But yeah, at this point he's a bigger star. But because this is like it's a smaller kind of independent film, really, it only cost £5 million to make, and it made £76 million.
Yeah,
which you might think, well, that's not, like, it's for a film like this to almost break the 100 million mark, and inflation today, that would be breaking the 100 million mark. Like, it really wasn't meant to be that big a film, but obviously they're starting to make this film probably, you know, 99, 2000 maybe, and by the time they get it to production, you know, and Dave Beckham, you know, as the good guy that he is, you know, he agrees to give his name to it to promote the women's games and have more families come to watch football matches.
Yeah,
that's what the internet tells me. This is just some of our no-nonsense research, which is to say half-assed research. But yeah, he could have been Ryan Giggs.
Which is so strange, because, I mean, he was never the star. I guess Man United were just huge at the time, like, so
yes,
maybe it was.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Bend It Like Beckham makes sense, because he's a big cultural, like, person. I'd say there was girls in England with rooms covered in Beckham posters, like the main character in this.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Maybe there was with Ryan Giggs, but I don't know. I just don't see it.
No, it was a Spice Girls thing. He was one of the first ones to be that level of like post on the wall. And he was handsome.
Yeah.
Dear God, he was handsome. You know, Ryan Giggs was as well, but he didn't have the same kind of like sharpness, I feel. You know,
the aura. No aura.
Yeah, let's just call it what it is, Will. It's aura. It's the best word for it.
Yeah.
You know, let's not try and get down to the details of the man's bone structure. He had aura. But yeah, there was an interview with the director, Gurinder Chadha, And she was saying how it could have been gigs. She said, we started working on the script quite a long time before because it took us a long time to get financing for the film. At that point, Dave Beckham was like nobody. In soccer, people knew him, but most audiences knew him because he had a girlfriend who was in Spice Girls. And he'd become a bit of a pin-up boy. And he was starting to do ads for Calvin Klein underwear. And he'd become a bit of a gay icon. Originally, the other writer, Gulhit, was into soccer. She had been all over Ryan Giggs. I changed it from Ryan Giggs to Dave Beckham because of the girl power and because of his whole being comfortable being a gay icon thing. Beckham gave us permission initially to use his name because he wanted to promote girls soccer and he wanted more families to come and see matches. But it could have easily been Ryan Giggs. And I'm not sure when this interview was done, but that would have been a very different legacy for the film. So yeah, I mean, look, I think part of the success is definitely Dave Beckham's star like rising with it. And then also, I mean, I think you can't underestimate, this was like one of the first of many genres. I think it was one of the most successful, one of the first good football films.
Yeah. I mean, there's what? Escape to Victory, and then there's probably like 40 or 30 years of none, and then this.
And Escape to Victory really is kind of a World War II film as much as anything else.
Exactly.
You know?
There's footballers in it. Yeah.
This is about someone who wants to play football. It's about a girl who wants to play football. It's about an Asian person who wants to play football. It has so many, niche things that like people who aren't represented in the movies at the time who were like, oh my, like now it's like, oh, woke nonsense. At the time this was trailblazing. This was like, this is amazing. And as we said, it's actually a watchable film as well. So it's like, you don't have to be in those things to enjoy it. But if you are, this is like, it's like, like the way Black Panther was like as good as any other film. But like if you're a black person, it's way better because it's like, well, finally, this is someone who looks like me.
Yeah.
So it was one of the most successful football films at the time. I think it wasn't until She's the Man, which is basically the same movie. That's how just. Yeah. But before that, there was the most successful soccer film in America.
Yeah. And it's funny because, like you said, it took a long time to get the film made to the point where she could obviously had easy access to David Beckham when the film first began to ask him. And then by the time the film was made, you can't even get him to show up on a day of filming. Like, he's too busy. But one of the reasons it took so long to get the film made, the director said the film was in a bit of limbo for a few years. The script was being supported, but it kept falling down because over and over again, people kept stopping me and saying, you'll never find an Indian girl that could bend a ball like Beckham. She said, do they think Harrison Ford jumps out of helicopters? Which is so funny. That's basically the plot of the film. And the film's already written and they're pushing it. And all these, like, I'm assuming Hollywood or whatever the UK's version of Hollywood guys are.
Football men? I don't know.
Yeah, that'll never work.
Yeah, but let's get to the football. Well, actually, before we get just on the US release of it, or whoever said no, they almost changed it. This is more on the Dave Beckham star and how big or small it was. They almost changed it to Move It Like Mia in reference to American professional soccer player Mia Hamm because they thought she was a bigger star than Dave Beckham at the time. So, like, that's the levels of, like, well, if it's a soccer movie about girls, then put a girl on it.
Yeah.
And there is a great scene where, like, as you go to, she's all Dave Beckham posters in a room, and she was wearing the Man United top, but she's playing the park with the lads. And then Jules comes over to her room for the first time, and she takes, like, a very quick glance at all the David Beckham stuff, and she's like, what the fuck? Because in her room, it's all women's soccer players. She gets here, it's just like an homage to David Beckham. It's like, what the hell? Don't you have only women that play soccer? It's a great little, like, a subtle thing of, like, she's not in the loop. She doesn't see any aspirations. Like, at the start, the sequence of her, she's playing with the men's team, which is like, she's not even aware that there's a women's team even.
Yeah.
That's what's kind of implying. So it's like, it's really subtly done, some of it. But, so I was going to say, the football. Let's get into the football of it, Will, because apparently they trained for 3 months, twice a day, afternoon and evening, to get the football perfect for this movie. I heard a similar story about White Men Can't Jump.
Really?
They had Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes playing one-on-one basketball for months because they wanted it to look real. And David Beckham, Bend It Like Beckham, they took the same approach with it years later. And, what do you think, Will? How did it come out on screen?
Well, two things I noticed. One, I was about an hour and a half into the film when Jules, Keira Knightley character, scores yet another header and I realized I haven't seen her score a goal with her feet, I'm pretty sure. And then I thought back and I thought, I don't know if I've actually seen her kick a ball in this film. I've seen her go to, like, I've seen a shoulder up shot of her moving like she's kicking.
Yeah.
I've seen her foot hit a ball and then a hard cut to a ball sailing into the goal. But I've never seen her kick a ball and where the ball went. And there's a few shots as well where, like, obviously they got these two girls and they're like, look, we'll train you up. We'll get you up to a level that's acceptable to watch. But it is pretty funny because the first scene, like you said, where Jules comes across Jess playing in the park with the lads, and Jess kicks the ball directly at the keeper and the keeper palms it in. Now, it's just jumpers for goalposts, but it's right at him and he hits it in. And Jules immediately comes up and goes, damn, you're good. You should join my team.
Yeah, there was a bit of like the park stuff at the start was like, she would move, all right, she's moving right, and then like, immediately zoom into the feet, and that could be anybody's feet, you know. We never actually saw.
It's funny. I was hoping at some stage it'd like I said, pan to the feet, but it'd be like some really muscly, hairy white guy's feet on the ball.
Well, this is it. It was an independent film, but everything about it was done well. You know, even the stuff that it's hard to cover up. Like when I was watching it first, like, damn, she is pretty good. And then as the movie went on, and it was like different players, and it was all zoom ins. I was like, oh, hang on, wait a minute. I think it's all zoomed in. I think it's. But yeah, apparently they did train for 3 months, and the coach, I can't find his name here.
Jonathan Rhys Meyers.
No, the coach in real life.
Oh, right. He wasn't the coach outside of the movie as well.
No, Jonathan Rhys Meyers from Dreamland did not coach them. But the coach said that Keira Knightley could do things that Premier League players couldn't do.
I don't believe that.
He said if he could have coached her from 10 or 11, she absolutely would have gone pro.
Wow, really?
No, not really, I wouldn't say. I'd say he's lying.
I was thinking.
I'd say he's full of shit. I'd say, as Keira Knightley would say, bollocks. Which she has some great delivery of bollocks. I think 3 lines of it, really good. That's another thing to note on it. Keira Knightley is only 16 in this movie.
Wow, really? I did not know that.
Yeah.
So they literally must have just plucked her like off the street, essentially.
You'd be wrong again, Will.
Child star.
This is a 10 years working towards overnight success.
Wow. Okay.
She had been a child. She had an agent since she was 6 years of age.
Okay.
She'd been in a lot of terrible films,
a lot of bad movies,
a lot of bad ones. Thunderpants, not a good film. Do you remember Thunderpants?
I do. The fart movie, yeah.
The fart movie where he went to space. She was in that. She was famously her big. Well, this was her big break. You know, this was huge for her. This kind of started the whole thing. But before that, she was in Star Wars as the decoy for Natalie Portman.
Okay,
Portman's character. I never saw that movie, or maybe I did, but I can't remember it. But there's a scene where Natalie Portman's character has to be like moved away from one of the ships, and then Keira Knightley is very similar to her, and she's a decoy person. I don't know if she dies in the movie as a decoy or not. But
I would say they grab her by the shoulder and turn her around and they go, "Da!"
I'd imagine that's what decoy's there for, you know. But that was one of her earlier ones. But like this is the one that starts it all. I mean, she does Bend Like Beckham 2002, 2003, Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl, the first one. And like when you think about the character, it is very similar, you know, kind of like upper class English tomboy, you know, doesn't do what her mother wants her to do.
Yeah.
She's going to go play with the boys. It's like the same role, but just pirates, really, you know. From 2003, also she does Love Actually. 2005, she does Pride and Prejudice. And from that point on, then she does Atonement, 2007. Like all through the 2000s, then she's like this massive star. And then she also kind of sets the tone for like period pieces. You know, when you think of period pieces, you think of her in Atonement and Pride and Prejudice, and Pirates of the Caribbean. So like this starts it all off. But like she had done like a lot of fucking like small parts in other movies. So yeah, she's very young in that film. Because I was watching, I was thinking, she's kind of a bad actress in this.
Yeah,
you know,
she's
I was
not
like,
great.
I'm like, how did this become like the one? But then like she's 16 years of age and she isn't even formally trained as an actor, you know. And the critics were kind of mean to her, considering that they did kind of say that she was pretty shit in this film. But she was a child, you know, so she got a lot better as she got older. But yeah, this is the one that started all off her.
Yeah, she does. She's pretty good in it. Like again, no one in the film. This is sometimes you watch these films from the 2000s and they might not hold up. I find something with older films is there's usually 2 or 3 characters that whenever they're on the screen, you're like, I fucking hate this person. I wish they weren't in the film.
Oh yeah.
But there's actually none of that in this. Everyone in it is pretty likable. And yeah,
What? You think so? The mother?
well, not the mother, but she does a good job being unlikable. Do you know what I mean? Like,
They're not all likable. No, but that's the point. I mean,
Yeah.
they're all like none of them are really annoyingly bad. I guess.
no one's grating, or there's no one when a scene comes on that I'm like, oh, skip this.
Yeah. I mean, some of the stuff again, it's beyond kind to say it doesn't hold up. Some of the attitudes and stuff, because like that is the point. That like, you know, they're not saying it like the friend, the gay friend.
Yeah.
You know, where there's the line where she's like, it's okay. And then they look over at the other lads. He's like, well, it's okay with me. You know, and it's like, that's not like, oh yeah, she's right. It's like a very kind of almost like a dark comedy, like, well, obviously don't come out, you know, that'd be crazy. But, you know, in this day and age.
There's 1 or 2 lines in it where it's funny as well because a lot of the attitudes in the film, if we had watched this a few years ago, like 2020, 2021, you'd be like, this is so strange to see. Like how progressive we are now, how far you come. Watching it today where things have kind of swung back a little bit, it does feel like this is kind of how it is now. This film is nearly like, oh, we're going back to 2000.
I don't know about that. I think it's a lot easier to come out now. I don't think we've gone back to that. But I mean, yeah, the mother being like, but again, like the mother is like distraught that she's going to be a lesbian, and then when she says, you know, I'm not a lesbian, by the way, and then she goes, also there's nothing wrong with being lesbian. She's like, I know that, I don't care, you know. Or when she's having a breakdown, that there's a great line where the dad goes, listen, George Michael is still a star, and you should listen to Wham.
The dad's great. The dad when he appeared on the screen, because I love him in fucking in Football Factory. As soon as he popped up, I was like, oh yes. And he literally is like, he's like, all right, love. Like he's so good at it. Every line he has is very funny.
I was shitting when he was like, oh, I hope you just meet the Indian guy, because he's going to say something, you know, because that's, you know, Football Factory, like he doesn't like him, I bet, you know.
There's one line in the film that it's like, it's a funny line, it's played up very well, but it's just hearing it in 2025 ears is so funny, where all of the women's team are talking to Jess. They're getting to know her for the first time. They're like, so what? You can't marry a white boy? And she's like, no, not white. Yeah. Black guy, definitely not. And then she says Muslim, and she does the throat slit.
Yeah, kill herself.
Whoa. Yeah. Well, yeah, the way it goes, white boy, no. Black guy, definitely not.
But that's the great thing of the film, where like it's not, they're not endorsing these attitudes. They're saying this is what she has to see, but this is why it's bad. Like this is like, I couldn't go near a black person. A white boy, God, forget it.
Yeah, there's a great line in it as well. Like I said, it does a good job of doing stuff very subtly, where it does this bit where it's like, I think it's her sister is giving out at her because, you know, she's been going out with this white boy, this coach. Everyone's going to be talking about you, seeing with this English fella. And she goes, he's Irish. She says, they all look the same. That's a great line.
There's another bit, where she gets called, well, I can't even say it. See, that's the thing, Will.
The P word, yeah.
The P word. Well, she gets mistaken for a Pakistani when, of course, her heritage is Indian. And she's, you know, very upset. She gets sent off. And she goes, you wouldn't get it, you know. He goes, I'm Irish. And I thought, well, is it worse to be called Pakistani when you're Indian, or called English when you're Irish?
Yeah.
I mean, both times like, oh no. That's I'm not them. I'm not them. No. I'm the other one. You know, it is similar, but I guess it doesn't have the kind of, you know.
If when he says it, I get what they're going for, but when he says it, I think being Irish, in my head, I was like, oh, don't say that.
Yeah. Well, you know what the difference is, right? If you said, oh, where are you from? UK, and you'd be like, no, I'm Irish. You're like, oh, okay, good. You know, but if you said, oh, go away, you person from Pakistan, and they go, I'm a Pakistani, I'm Indian, they go, well, the same fucking thing, I don't like you, you know? You'd still be discriminated against. Whereas if you say you're Irish, oh, dude, crisis averted, you know?
Yeah.
So that's probably the only thing that didn't hold up, maybe, you know?
But I see what they're going for.
Yeah, I mean, like they're trying to cover the whole thing of like, look, we got Indian people here, Irish people, not lesbians, but they might be lesbians.
It feels like the film was written, and like I'm sure this done on purpose. So you're supposed to think that either both of the girls are lesbians or Keira Knightley's character is a lesbian in the end.
Yeah.
But in the end of the movie, it all works out where it's like, no, none of them are. And then they kind of just move on from Keira Knightley's character and her love interest, and Jess just shifts the coach.
Some of them were, I'm sure. And I mean, it is a women's soccer team. They just never really dove into it. There was opportunities to kind of, go into that a bit more. Maybe look, the movie's only so long, I guess. But they could have.
It's pretty long.
They could have cut some of the coach stuff to maybe explore a bit more of the kind of, lesbian stuff in girls soccer as well. Because again, it's the same thing. At the time, it's like it's not really acceptable. So, they could have done a bit more of that, I felt. But there was, I suppose, a lot in it. I guess we should talk about our man on the ground, friend of the show, Jonathan Rhys Meyers.
I think he's my favorite character in the movie, but for a lot of the wrong reasons. Just the way there's a lot of things surrounding him.
You're a pig of a man.
There's a lot of things surrounding him that are very funny. For one, there was one line in the film that I was literally laughing to myself. That it's not supposed to be a funny line, but Jess, the main character, is talking. I can't remember what she's talking to, but she says, "Oh, the coach. I can't remember the coach's name now, but like, he's taken a liking to me. He really knows his stuff." And I had been collecting quotes that this coach had been saying throughout the film, some of his tactics and advice.
Oh God, yeah.
The extent of his football knowledge and tactical know-how is, he says, the first thing he says in the film when they're training, he says, "Kick it to Jules." Later on, he says, "Just kick it." Later on, he says, "Come on, girls." And then later on, he says,
he goes on to say,
"Just kick it." Those are all he says when he's on the pitch. He's also shouts at Jess after she gets sent off for the instance we talk about. Then he turns around to the rest of the team and he goes, "All right, big cheer for you girls. Hip hip hooray."
Oh, the hip hip hooray. I was like, some of the football stuff
best.
really let it down. That has never happened. No one has given themselves 3 cheers. No one even gives the opposing team 3 cheers anymore.
Yeah.
The 3 cheers for yourselves is insane. It's not a kid's birthday party, Jonathan. Get your shit together.
And there was one other bit. It was just, I'm sure you might have spotted it. Maybe you've forgotten it, but I have it in my notes here. The very first of the 7 or 8 montages that happen in this movie, where Jess first arrives and she sees the women's team in action. They're training. And you see, there's tackles flying in. There's headers. There's a front flip throw in, and then it goes back to kicking the ball.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, what's the coach doing? Should be on them for that. What are you doing that for?
Yeah, that's when she comes, and that's why I'd say my favorite line in the movie, which I think that is a category, but I'll say it now just for the sake of it. When she comes from the park with
the boys,
the half-naked Indian guys.
I love those guys too, by the way.
they rule, yeah. Taz is the man.
Doing the kung fu? Oh, what a guy.
which I love that impresses the girls. I was like, a woman wrote this, so it obviously works, fellas. Acting the gobshite, they do love it.
He's literally doing like, hee-yah, and there's 3 girls. Essentially, the mean girls are like, "Oh my God, he's so fine."
He's so cool. And they're right. He is.
Yeah, he's the man.
But yeah, she goes to the park with the fucking,
the
messers, the boys. And then she goes to like a place that actually has a pitch and a dressing room, whatever. And Jonathan Rhys Meyers isn't convinced. So he has to Jill's like, "What's the story with this one?" It's like, "Oh, she's good, promise me." And she comes trotting over. It's like, "All right, so where do you play?" And she goes, "Oh, the park." It's just a great delivery, so innocent. But yeah, I mean, like, there was actually one more bit of trivia. That scene with the first train session, she has to put her shorts on. And she's sitting and she can't train because she doesn't want to show her legs.
Yeah.
She has the burn in her leg. That's a real life burn.
Really? Wow. So they adapted.
She went to the director with the exact same problem And the director said, I hear you. I'm going to put that in the movie.
What if millions saw it?
Yeah. Oh, you're subconscious. She was literally like, I don't know where, these shorts are short. I don't want to be on TV and show my burns. Like, would you say this is a traumatic thing for you? Because I think this might play in the movie. And they put it in the movie, Will. So that was real. That was all natural burn marks. And in the end, I guess they didn't really see it. But a little bit of movie trivia there.
Yeah, it's funny because actually, now that I think of it, that makes sense because that gets mentioned and then never mentioned again.
Yeah.
Except by the lads in the park who were like pointing at it and going, "Oh, what's that?"
Yeah, the guys who are funny and cool.
The bros, they pop up near the end of the film as well. They finally go to one of Jess's games.
Oh, yeah. That's
they
great
have some,
scene.
they have some incredible lines. I have some of them written down here. So the camera pans to 5 bros in sunglasses on the side. And they say, "Whoa, look at the boobs on the captain." And then Taz's friend, or not Taz's friend, Jess's friend says, "Come on, lads, treat them with respect like it's the men." The lads reply by all laughing and dapping each other up.
And then the scene ends. This goes back
they
to
get
football.
no comeuppance. That's just, they're cool guys.
But like I say, it holds up because that's the point. That's who they are. That's what lads were like at the time. Like it's like say it does. It's a little time capsule. Nothing except for the coach saying that if he called Irish as bad as he called a Pakistani person. That's the only thing that doesn't hold up. But the rest of it is all just like, this is what it's like. This is what it's like for women. You gotta get lads saying, look at this, like that. So, but all done very subtly. It doesn't take 6 scenes or a long drawn out. Didn't his speech from the guy be like, guys, this isn't good enough.
Yeah.
It was one line. It's like, come on, lads.
We've learned the error of our ways. They know. They're just having a laugh.
Yeah. Well, it was a bit like that. The Barbie movie was a bit like that.
Yeah.
Like it was like, there was like, oh, this is what we have to deal with. But then at the end, they had to like put an exclamation mark on it, and Margot Robbie and America Ferrera had that like soliloquy in the middle. It's like, all right, like,
I get it.
Yeah.
I understand.
That's the point of the movie, But like, Ben Like Beckham just went straight through and was like, yeah, look, here's what's going on. I think it was a more enjoyable film than I thought it would be, Will, more than I remembered. And it was a commercial success, which is the most important thing about this kind of art. It has to make money.
Yeah. There is some bits in it that are very 2000s, which I liked. It's just stuff that you don't see in films anymore. One thing I noted was 7 minutes into the film, we get our first nut shot. Jess punches I think she punches Taz in the dick. And I was like,
she gets the ball, puts it in it. Yeah, he's giving her a lip though, Will. He's no doubt he's giving her a lip.
That's a classic though. Every 2000s film has to have a shot like that, and the character walks off. And then there's another bit, which is so strange. So the film is kind of based around Jess's sister's wedding is coming up.
Yeah. Who's a bitch, by the way?
Who's a total bitch. And also, a lot of the time, it's like, that was something in the film. All the bits about the wedding, I was like, I don't care. Jess doesn't care. I don't care. Let's fucking forget about the wedding, lads.
Yeah. It was hard to root for the sister at all, really. She was so mean to her.
And then sometimes she'll swing back wildly. Like at one scene, she obviously unveils Jess's football boots to the parents. And then the very next scene, she's covering her fur while she goes for Germany. It's like, how'd you get past that?
Yes, the first thing where she's like goes to the game and or she does she lies about having a job so she can go to training.
Mm-hmm.
And the sister goes to pick her up and she's not there, and she's like, "Oh, well, why didn't your sister pick her up?" And you can see in Jess's eyes again, very subtly done, where she's like internally like, "Oh fuck," and then she comes in the door. There's no time to tell a story. She just stands there silently, like, "Oh no, it's done. Like I'm fucked." And the sister comes in. It's like, yeah, I spoke to the manager, said you were gone home early. Like, completely, like, lie. Like, there's no manager. Just her Jess. And she goes, oh, you're getting right, are you? Like, it's like, no, I'm playing football. It's like, oh, what? That's fucking game.
Oh,
yeah, what the hell? How did you get the ride? I would have covered you for you for getting the ride, but not for football, And then, like, the next scene is like that's another one where she gets mistakenly kissing
what the hell was that scene? They could have done that better. At no point did it look like she was kissing that girl at all, especially when the character who spots them is looking at them. They're clearly laughing.
But even the kind of lean in, it's like, no one laughs at that. It was all a bit forced. But then, they get back to the house and the sister's like immediately like, and she's playing football, by the way. It's like, you bitch.
Yeah,
you fucking bitch.
And then this is why I brought up the wedding, because there's a scene, again, a classic 2000s thing, where they're probably thinking, all right, this wedding thing, it's a bit boring, I think, on the script.
Yeah.
Let's just add like a little side thing that happens where two people are shifting in the bathroom. Then we come back and they're all beating up the guy filming the wedding for no reason.
Oh, that was good. I like that. Yeah.
But like that was the type of thing where it's just like when I was watching that, because I watched this right before the podcast, it was a time crunch. And I was like, let's get this over with, lads. Let's move past. I don't need the extra thing.
But again, that was more like kind of subtle comedy, like a tiny little B story. It's like, look at this happened in the bathroom. And the next scene, oh, they found out. Like semi-contextualized kind of beef. It was like, what's going on here? It was like, that's weddings. That's an Indian wedding. We've all been to one. We all get it. It just gave the kind of a kind of a rounded, colorful kind of a look at this is the whole thing. I really enjoyed it. But I think before we move on to the awards wheel, we do have to talk about it. The kiss. That was fucked up, man.
So
she knew that Jules liked her.
She knew. I don't know if she's supposed to be drunk in the film, but she at no point does it.
She's stumbling. She's stumbling. But yeah.
She knows what she's doing. She knows what she's doing.
Yeah. You can be drunk, you know what you're doing, you know. And it's a great scene because she's about to kiss him and then Jules comes out, rightfully calls her a bitch.
Yep.
Walks back in, and then it goes back to Jess, and she's like, fuck.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like, oh no, what am I doing? She's like, shit, caught me.
Yeah.
But then
she tries to lie about it as well. When Jules
I didn't know,
Oh, I didn't like that now.
Yeah, I was like, but this is it. She's not a perfect character either. She's like, she wanted her bit. And she's like, I was going to do that behind your back, even though I knew you liked him. But, And what about, just on a side note, the Hamburg story plot? Well, I mean, that was a bit mad. Like, this is like a Sunday League team.
It's very strange because, so they go to Germany to play in some tournament, but all up until this point, they're playing in front of nobody, essentially. And then later on in the film, it's revealed that, the coach has been offered a new job. The women's team are going pro. Like, right, well, if they're not pro, who the fuck are they playing in Germany?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Germany thing was because it was a German film production that took it up. So
you got to get the tourism in. Get on the boat, do the look around.
We're going to show a bit of Hamburg while we're here. And by the way, you are going to lose on penalties. That's part of the deal.
They did it's funny because when she misses the penalty, so Jess steps up, misses a penalty, takes an awful penalty, by the way.
Right, I mean, 3 months of football for that. Dear God.
Right at the keeper. And then I was thinking, like, that was weird. Why would they make her miss it? Because then it goes back to everything's great, but it's to set up she takes a big free kick later on in the movie, and it happens. She bends it like Beckham. But yeah, when she steps up for the penalty, I was just like thinking, what is going, like, why are we in Germany? What's going on here? Yeah.
For the tourism, for the movies, the Hamburg people, they needed to be in Hamburg for a bit.
And there was a point as well, I think it's after Germany, she sneaks off to play another game. But this is like the 5th or 6th time she's been caught not playing anymore and then sneaks out. It got to a point where I was like, okay, I get it. Like, she's not supposed to play, she's playing. Let's have it out already.
Well, honestly, the best written character in the whole film was her dad.
Yeah.
He had the most of a journey because, like, you got the whole backstory of how he came to England and was, like, rejected by other cricketers, even though he was really good.
Yeah.
And they didn't let him play. And he said, right, well, fuck it. I'm going to be the most insular man in the world. Only Indians all the time. Our culture. Don't trust anybody else. So, like, it's not like in the movies where it's like, oh, I've changed my mind. It's like he's been like radicalized for years. It's like he hates everybody who's an Indian.
He always wants this, but he's afraid of racism from his daughter. That makes all the sense in the world, yeah.
So yeah, he goes to games. Yeah, I know she's like that, but she's going to get hurt. I don't trust them, you know? And then she's like, oh, Dad, the wedding's the day of the match. He's like, hey, I don't want to hear about it. You know, because again, he's afraid. Like, no, I can't see her playing a final and lose and be, blamed for the loss. He was, and then at the end, he has that big speech where it's like, who I didn't play anymore, and who won? They did because I didn't play. He, like, the best written character was the bad in it.
Yeah. And also, I will say, Jules' dad, as we mentioned, he is like a shining light in the film of a good guy. Like, he's always standing up for his daughter. He's on her side and stuff. And then at the end of the film, he's the one who politely comes up and he's like, hey guys, it's getting late. We should all get on the plane to fucking America or whatever. But he's like, just a really nice guy.
Yeah, I mean, that was funny because like her dad actually worked the airports. I was waiting for like, yeah, I know, man. I work here.
And then we have to talk about, we talked about the first kiss. we've got to talk about the
Oh.
second kiss.
Well, look, this coach is like,
What age is he? What age is she?
yeah. Look, what we know is that he tried to go pro. He got injured.
Mhm.
And he didn't make it. Right? He got a knee injury. But like, if you get a knee injury at 16, you know, you'd probably keep going till you're 20 anyways before you go, look, it's not going to get any better.
Yeah.
And this is like a year or two removed from that because he's done his badges. He's a coach.
There's a lot of mentions of, he can't be seen. I think Keira Knightley literally says he can't be seen shagging one of the players. That'd be bad for him. Like, and then even at the end, him and Jess, when they meet up on the pitch and they nearly go to embrace, and you hear a shout off camera of just random lads going, "Oi!" And then Jess says, "Sorry, I forgot."
No. They're going the oi oi. They're not
okay.
saying stop that pedophile.
That's what I was thinking.
But yeah, she's meant to be 18, I think, in the
Yeah.
movie. But he is in his, again, 2002, well, social commentary. You know, this is commonplace.
Yeah.
You know, this guy's in his early 20s. But yeah, it doesn't matter what age you are. If they're the same age, it's the power dynamic. You know, he's the coach. He shouldn't be he shouldn't be shagging his players. You know, he definitely shouldn't be rewarded with a senior men's position after that. You know?
No. And also, he has no time for Jules in this movie. Jules is obviously mad about him the whole film. He doesn't care about her, and that's never cleared up ever.
She likes him. He doesn't like her. I mean, I think it's a bit like that. But I mean, yeah, when they're in Hamburg, the nightclub,
Incredible dancing and faces from him, by the way.
like she's mad to get him up dancing, and he goes, "Let's dance with her instead," you know. And then there's like Jules, like, all right. I mean, that's a tough scene because like you've seen it happen. Maybe it's happened to you, listener. You know, where you're dancing with someone, and there's like a third person there where they're like slowly edging towards them, and you're like, I am not wanted here.
Yeah.
I am going to just dance my pain away for the rest of the night because this is like going in the wrong direction here. And then, you know, we have the kiss and all the rest of it.
By the way, a real sign of the times. How fucking busy was that fake nightclub? There was like 1,000 people on the dance floor.
I think it was filmed live in Hamburg. So that's probably a real place, Will. We could go.
If it's still there, if it's not gone, yeah. I will say as well, the coach, like we said, is weird power dynamic. He also has 2 lines in the film that really stood out to me. One in particular where Jess tells him she's after passing all of her exams, you know, she's going to university, not going to have time to train in. And he replies, "That's a shame."
Yeah, he's very creepy in it. And in the way that I think Keira Knightley got cast for Pirates of the Caribbean in the back of this, I think he got cast in his numerous other creepy roles that he had in the rest of his career. He was in that movie, or that show, The Tudors, where he played Henry VIII or something like that.
One of them, yeah.
Really kind of psycho guy in that who kills people. And I was getting kind of psycho vibes from this. I was like, this guy should not be a coach. He should not be coaching young girls. This is, and then like as soon as like Jess like, oh, I passed, I'm going to America. It's like, we're not you know, I'm not your coach anymore. Let's kiss. You know, it's like, stop, man. The 17-year-old girl is like, whoa, brother, come on.
So he also says, you know, they offered me the men's job. She said, oh, that's great. He said, yeah, I've turned it. Oh no, he said, sorry, they've offered me the men's job. No more pulling pints. And I thought, when was he ever pulling pints? There's no mention of that at all in the film.
Was he maybe it was the lead scene? Was he working in the bar up in the clubhouse maybe as well as the women's coach?
I think he mentions the bar at one stage, but it's never like, oh, if only someday I can get out of the bar. It's like, it's very much like he's doing quite well as a coach. It's not like this is all he has or anything. Because again, he gets offered it. And he says, I'm sticking with the women's team. And they're going pro.
Yeah, we're turning professional next year.
By the way, we're turning professional. The whole film is about how there's no professional teams in England and there's no leagues or anything, and you have to go to America.
Yeah, that was, again, that was more, I think, it wasn't even, oh, this will always be the way. That was kind of a dig at the women's FA, being like, this is a shithole, by the way. You know, there is no opportunity for these women. So
they show an ad for the US Women's Association.
Yes, yeah.
US soccer. It's so good.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, he was probably, yeah, I don't know, was that social commentary or not, that there's a problem with men's coaches in the women's game. Maybe if we were around more in 2002, we would know this kind of thing, but it did kind of feel like unnecessarily creepy.
Yeah, I think it was honestly that was just the way it was in the 2000s, to the point where it wasn't even like considered an issue. It was just like probably, like I said, a woman director and writer was just like, "Oh, of course, the coach and one of the players would fall in love with each other." It's just like, that's common.
Yeah. Yeah, it did feel like a bit of a forced kind of a love. Like, even like she wasn't into it that much.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, look, I'll be back Christmas. You know, it's like, why are we forcing this? Why is this guy like...
He becomes friends with her family. The film ends with a slow zoom out as he plays cricket with her dad. Leave this family alone. Stop turning up on their doorstep.
That was honestly intentional or otherwise. I don't know if it was an acting choice by Rhys Meyers, but like when he slowly turns to look at the camera and it's him playing cricket with the dad. He looks so evil. I'm like, oh my god, he's stalking the family. She's going to come home at Christmas. Like, oh fucking hell! Like, sorry man, but like in a split second, she gets a scholarship to America. She's going to the States. She's probably going to go pro. She's out your league now.
Yeah.
You know?
Who the hell are you, mate?
You're just some coach of a shit team in the whatever they call the fucking some league team,
the Harriers or something. Yeah,
the Harriet Taros. I don't know. Yeah, whatever. It's not a real team, I don't think. But it's Anyways,
well, before we go to the awards, the categories, there is one thing we haven't talked about yet. That's honestly, it's worth its own little segment. We're in a weird way, we're leaving the best to last because the best part of the film is the opening 3 minutes. It literally, it got me. It fooled me. It sucked me in. The camera, the film starts, bang, we're straight into a Man United game. They're playing Anderlecht. And the commentary is like, I don't see how they're going to break down Anderlecht here. And first thing I thought was like, 99 Man United aren't going to break down Anderlecht. They're probably winning 5-0. But I did notice, I was like, the commentary sounds weird. It sounds like fake. I wondered if they'd have to re-record it. And then it happens.
Yeah.
Beckham curls one in and an amazing, it's like, it's not even 2000s animation. It actually looks pretty good for the time, but like, it looks like early AI, like those filters you get of the Jess character pops up for the header and she scores the goal and she celebrates with all the Man United players.
They do like your teacher talking about prime Hitler, and it's like Hitler kind of superimposed really kind of roughly over Ronaldinho. He's like, like it's like that level of like, it's almost meant like nowadays, like, yeah, it's meant to be fucking, badly done.
That probably cost like £1 million.
Oh yeah, it's like
at the time
when Tony Soprano's mom died in real life, and they had to superimpose her face.
Weird,
and it's literally like the Snapchat filter that you get today, where you can just put someone's face on. It's like that level of, they get thousands probably costs to get this one scene in, and now you have the access on your phone. So it's hard to judge special effects. And again, it's an independent film, wasn't it?
Yeah,
special effects film. They use like old camera tricks, like montages to get their point across.
And so it shows her scoring a goal for Man United. She's obviously daydreaming, but before she's woken from the daydream, it goes to a match of the day-esque panel. Maybe it was the match of the day studio and they just didn't say anywhere. But we're joined by Gary Lineker, Alan Hansen, and John Barnes. Gary Lineker does a good job of just being Gary Lineker. Hansen and Barnes speak like two robots because they're obviously trying to memorize their lines, which are just things that they would say all the time.
That's right, John. Could Jess Bamra be the answer to England's prayers? Alan?
Well, there's no denying the talent. Quick thinking, comfortable on the ball, vision and awareness, absolutely magnificent. I tell you what, I wish he was playing for Scotland.
John, do you think England have found the player to relive their World Cup glory from '66?
Definitely, Gary. I think we finally found the missing piece of the jigsaw. And the best thing is, she's not even reached her peak yet.
OK, thanks, John. Well, we're joined in the studio now by Jessie's mother, Mrs. Bamra. Mrs. Bamra, you must be very proud of your daughter.
Not at all. She shouldn't be running around with all these men showing her bare legs to 70,000 people. She's bringing shame on the family, and you three shouldn't encourage her.
I wish she played for Scotland. Good point, Alan. What about you, John?
The Lineker laugh is like, he does that all the time. He's like, yeah, moving on, actually, Mika. Sorry, it's not that funny.
And then it goes to the next guest on the panel, which is Jess's mother. And that's where we meet her for the first time. And she said, shame on the three of you. She shouldn't be bringing shame on the family showing her legs. And the scene ends with Gary Lineker, Jim Halperting the camera.
Yeah, no, it started off strong. It did. And I will say it was sponsored heavily by Adidas with the whole thing. A lot of Adidas gear.
Yeah, everyone's in Adidas gear. A key part of one of the Manny montages, one of the good ones where everything's going well, is them going to the shop and buying a pair of Adidas Predators and looking at them and wow, look how beautiful they are. Yeah.
Well, that again, I'd say the movie made like almost all profit because once Dave Beckham was on board, I was like, oh, we'll pay for this movie. We'll pay $5 million for this, 100%. You know, we get it all in. So I'd say they made a lot of money on this movie just because it was all bought and paid for by different advertisers throughout. Yeah, I think we move on to the categories now. Will we?
Yep, sounds good. The awards.
Football is nothing without the awards.
Mm-hmm.
I only found out today, Will, that Kevin De Bruyne never won a Player of the Month award.
Wow, I never knew that.
Despite winning the Player of the Year twice.
That's mad.
I think. Well, maybe not Player twice, but he never won the manager. He never won Manager of the Month or Player of the Month, while he was there. So the first category we have is the Streets Will Never Forget award.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for me, I think there's only one person in this, and that's Jules' dad.
You think Jules' dad? Yeah. So he's the best non-main character, the best, but one that will really stick with you. He's up there for me. He doesn't get my nomination, but I could see the argument for him.
Just the lines he had. I mean, the scene where he's, again, very 2002, he's teaching the wife the offside with the salt and pepper shaker.
So,
my dad is on the exact route where he's trying to explain something happened in the game. He does the ketchup and the salt. Like, he's here and that guy's here. You're like, oh, I can't visualize this at all.
The teriyaki and the mustard, yeah.
Yeah, and then there's the George... yeah,
the George Michael bit.
George Michael and Wham.
He has another great line where the ma is thinking maybe she's a lesbian, and he goes, listen, if she wants to just play football and not go after any lads, quite frankly, I'm over the moon.
Yeah, well, I don't think that's about lesbians. I think it's just like that's what she says. No lad wants to go out with you, and no lads want to go out with someone bigger muscles than you.
Yeah.
I'm like, she's like skeletal in this movie, which is the funniest thing. And I was like, listen, she wants to play football, not just lads. I'm over the moon about that. His ratio, his expected laughs per line, they're great. He's at the start of the show, but Streets Never Forget this guy in the movie.
Well, that's funny because again, another thing where it's just the ratio of quotes to bangers. I think the Streets will never forget the boys in the park. Those boys, Taz, the lads.
Taz,
they're the
just all
stars
together.
of the show.
Yeah,
they're like one large character. Anytime they're on the screen, it is so good. And I think they're getting for me. It was a close call though because another non-main character, another Streets Never Forget player, the Mean Girls. Yes, his sister's friends.
Oh yeah,
and they're in like 2 scenes, and they're very funny in both of them.
The sister's fake friends, yeah, that was good. Even honestly, the gay friend is
he's good. Yeah,
he's a legend. I mean, the way he was like, "Listen, watch this. We're getting married on one condition: she can go to any college." He nearly pulls it off too, and it would have worked.
Yeah, he nearly solves the movie. He nearly does it, and she's like, "No more lying." I was at the time she did that. I was like, Jess, just let him have it.
Well, you put him in it now. It's like, well, now he's a liar as well, and he's not getting married, But he nearly saved it that time. But she's probably right. So she made the right choice. Will tell if I know how it is, and we got that great sticky from the dad. So I think it all worked out for the best.
Yeah, it all worked out.
The second category then, the Napoli fans 22, the movie memorabilia you'd most want. That's based on that. Everyone remembers those classic scenes of the Napoli fans ripping the shorts off the Napoli players after they won that title.
Picking the grass off the pitch and putting it in bags.
The solid grass is a classic, but I mean, taking a lad's shorts, leaving down to his boxers, that's a bit harsh. What's the one bit of movie memorabilia from this movie that you would like to take home, Will?
I mean, there's only one, really. Like I mentioned, it pops up like a jump scare. It's the Beckham shrine, the Beckham posters. Like having the wall and roof of Beckham face is so funny.
Did you want the Beckham posters?
I want all of them. I want the shrine in the room. And you know what it reminded me of when I was looking at it? It was wrecking my head because like, where have I seen a picture where someone's like sitting in the room surrounded by like a player shrine like that? And I realized Mbappe. Remember the picture of him around the Ronaldo shrine?
Oh,
do you think he was talking to it like she was with her shrine?
I'd say so, Will. I'd say that's how he got so good, just positive visualization. He manifested the whole thing. For me, it's one answer. It's those classic Preds.
Oh yeah, that's a great shout. Yeah,
man, like those white Preds, like they go for like €350 on eBay right now.
Yeah, they're bang.
Like, you cannot get them for cheap. They're They were savage. I love those Preds. What else do we have then? Do you have anything else? Any other nominees for memorabilia?
I was thinking if you wanted a really deep cut, if you wanted to show unbelievable, I guess, ball knowledge, wearing a retro Man United kit, number 7, with Jess's second name on the back, that'd be a fucking banger.
Oh, that would be good, yeah. That sleeveless hoodie she wears at the start is actually pretty cool. I was like, that's nice. I'd wear that in the summer. Yeah, the fraud alert, Will, the weakest character in the movie. For me, it's Jess Rinder's mother. No arc. The entire way through, she never has any kind of breakthrough. She's just like, no, do this. And it's like, but she's happy. And like the dad like incrementally breaks down the walls. And we even get his motivation why he's doing this. She's just like, I'm a bitch, you know? I don't want you to be happy. I want you to make onion badgies. I mean, they mentioned that like 3 or 4 times. Like, I want to keep making more onion badgies.
There's a very funny line in the film where so it cuts to, also it's funny because so it's one of the montages and Jess behind her mother who's cooking dinner, and Jess is doing keepy ups with some vegetables, and she's like, it's funny because
some terrible keepy ups.
She never gets over one in all the shots they use, which is funny because like I said, it's like this woman is not as good as the film is making out to be, obviously. But there's a very funny line where the mother catches her and she grabs her, she brings her up to the oven where they're cooking, and she points and she goes, Alu Gobi. Forget about the football.
Which is the iconic line. Anybody can Alu Gobi, but not everybody can bend like Beckham, you know? Roll the credits when I say that line. That's the movie right there. I think she's the weakest character in it. Like I say, everyone else, you know, pretty much played their role. Even Jules' mother, like, not a kind of a bit of a reprehensible character, the way she like pretends to bring Jules to I'll bring you to the wedding, and then goes, you fucking lesbian, you know, like crashes the wedding to shout homophobic slurs at someone. A terrible character, but that's what she was meant to be doing. You know, she's meant to be this kind of fake kind of person who, you know, whatever. But like, I just think she at least had some kind of character, some kind of motivation, you know, with the mother was just like, and again, like it was written by an Indian woman, and they got the worst lines, the worst bits in it, you know, but maybe, who knows? Maybe that's about her own mother. Maybe her own mother's waiting to watch that and going, bitch, she got me back. There you go. The worst character in the movie is me. You couldn't write it. A classic football cliche, Will. Of course, it's the full of cliches. You couldn't write it because no one would believe it. As in, like, it's too cliched. It's too unbelievable a plot point for them to score in the last minute, you know. So in this movie, what is the most unbelievable plot point or part in the movie for you?
Well, of course, there's the big free kick where she, you know, it happens. She bends it like Beckham. The classical music is playing. But for me, you couldn't write it more.
The Nessim Dora, do you like that?
Yeah.
That nod?
Yeah. What did it for me, though, was the whole bit of her leaving the wedding to go and catch the second half of the game, and she's immediately on.
Yeah.
Is there no rules about who's starting the game, who's on the bench? How is she just allowed to run on? Who had to come off for that? And then, like, she gets on, the scout from America is there, and obviously America is supposed to be very top level. She spends the first 5 minutes of the match hugging and laughing with Jules. Get your head in the game, Jess. It's a fine one.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's more, I guess, of a kind of like a nitpick, I guess. Like, surely the team has to be registered beforehand. You know, was she on the, you know?
It really bothered me.
Did they lose the game now because they played an unregistered player? You know, maybe she's registered in the squad for the season, maybe. She's on the extended squad. Maybe not the match day squad. You know, like say, you can't have both ways. You can't have scholarship for America and then go, it's not that official. You know, I actually have that as well. The scholarship. Full scholarship. After
they both got full scholarships.
He came to one game and he heard about another game which they lost.
Yeah, and they were losing the first half of this one also, apparently. Jules, by the way, without Jess, is shite. She doesn't know. She can't score if Jess isn't playing.
No service. She needs the service, you know. Yeah, I mean, that was the only thing. And I looked it up. I was like, okay, what was the story? Because I know it was quite big in America at the time. In 2002, the NCAA was allowed to offer 14 full scholarships to women. Now, that doesn't actually mean 14 players. You could have stretched that out, partial scholarships, to say 20 players and a few, you know, full-time, which is probably what they would have done.
They wouldn't spend two on the one team.
Because, so yeah, for them to get full scholarships to America, it's a very high level, you know. I know in the NCAA Division 2, they had 9 full scholarships. So maybe there's a second division team. I don't know, Will. It just seems a bit of a kind of a forced thing where it's like, yeah, I think they would have done a bit more. I mean, she only started playing this year.
She only played like 7 games.
Of like 11 on 11 football, you know. Before that, she's playing in the park. I know she's a wonder kid and all that, but I mean, like, you can't have both ways. You can't have, oh, well, the standard's so low that she was just better than them. Like, even conditioning, you know, like kicking the ball around jumpers and goalposts is not going to get you fit for a game. No. Yet she came right in there, did a few sit-ups in a montage, ran around the pitch. She's like, I'm going to America. I'm the best player in the world. You know, it's just like...
She misses a crucial penalty of one of the 7 games she plays.
Yeah, I feel like if you're going to get a scholarship on one game and one that you heard about, you got to be perfect in every facet, you know. But
you definitely have to play at least 80 minutes. You can't play fucking 40 minutes and 5 minutes of chatting.
She played 30 minutes because she said it's 60 minutes because she left at halftime. You know, she only played 30. He got to that on the sideline and she goes, "What's the story? What's going on?" And he's like, "Warm up. There's 30 minutes left, and we're a goal down." And it's a great scene when they score, and Rhys Meyers goes, 1-1. You know, it's like no one shouts the score.
Also, there's a bit in the very first montage. It shows like our first 2 or 3 games. Some insane celebrations from this women's team.
That was sorry.
They must be the most hated team in whatever town they're in, because literally they score like 3 or 4 goals in this montage. They do an entire team photo with the goalie pretending to take the picture, which is insane. They do the shoe shining. They all run around like airplanes. Some professionalism, please, girls.
Yeah, they did every celebration on the book. There was another one where a team scored against them, and it got them doing the human centipede on the ground. That was great, actually. The celebrations were like, definitely when they were filming that, I thought this is pretty funny. You know, like this is just for us, you know, just a celebration after every single goal. Like, it was great.
The team photo is mental. I'd love to see a team whip that out now, but I think if a team did that in real life, it would be like a huge incident. Like, there'd be war because the other team would be like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Well, look, this is the time of the secret tournament, the 2002 Nike ad. You know, it was all about that stuff. Flair, Showboat on Soccer AM. It was a sign of the times. Well, you can't give it this now. You know, it's too much eyes, too many snowflakes out there that'd be hurt by that. You know, but back then, that's how it was. Yeah, no, that was a great little bit of the movie as well, the celebrations. The final category that I have is the Al McCoist Unexpected Banger Award in the movie.
There's a few.
And when it came on, I thought it was moving on up.
I know what you thought. When did Kanye make Touch the Sky? That was my first thought.
No, I didn't think that, but because before it was like I was looking through the soundtrack. This doesn't make the soundtrack. They didn't obviously pay for it to make the soundtrack. They paid for it the movie, and they used it twice in the movie.
Yeah,
at the beginning and
got
the
their
end.
money of it. Yeah, a lot of Basement Jacks on the soundtrack who they could afford.
Posh Spice had a song on it, and also so did Mel C. Also had a song on it.
Yep.
So they saved their money there. You know, that was again probably part of the get the Beckham thing. Yeah, you can use my name, but you have to let Posh Spice sing a song on the movie. It's like, okay, well you drive a hard bargain, David, but we'll let you do it.
Well, look. At least we have you locked in for the cameo. Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely free that day.
Yeah, probably. Anyways, make sure my wife gets to sing a song on the movie. But yeah, most of the songs, and there's a few traditional Indian songs in there as well. That the classic, the wedding one they always do.
Yeah. That's in every
That's
one,
a classic.
Yeah.
That was a good banger too. But that was expected. I was like, when are they going to play that? That's what I was thinking. But when moving up, I was like, oh, this is great. You know, this is a proper montage song in a movie. You know, it was great. So
and if they do it well, they do that thing where they play it at the start of the movie where things are kicking off and we're getting introduced, and then they play us out with it, which is what we do all the time with Creed.
What was your unexpected banger?
So it was moving on up as well, but there was another honorary mention.
Yeah.
A song called Smile by Paris, Texas, which I'm pretty sure used to be the opening to the Premier League on Sky Sports. That came on, I was like, oh that is a football movie song. That's right
That's
up
nostalgia
there.
right there. Yeah.
But no, it has to be Moving On Up. I mean, the perfect use of it, and it's a banger.
Yeah, didn't see that coming, and a great addition to the movie.
I was thinking coming in. Now, I knew because it was an English film, it'd be different. But I was like, 2002, I think it came out 2001. I was like,
2002, yeah.
Are we getting any new metal? Are we getting any like are we getting any like Good Charlotte in this? What are we going for here? But no, there was none, but still a good soundtrack.
Yeah, well, I think, again, maybe I'm giving too much credit here, but it wasn't too, like, so with that, where that's not like a social commentary. You know,
Yeah,
that's just
that's
like
just that
a song
cool.
that's popular. Where like Move On Up is like, it's not a song from there, but it's like they were like, in 20 years this is a sleepy good song. You
Exactly,
know,
yeah.
Bit of Basement Jacks and like say, you know, the old Posh Spice song. That's not going to hold up, but that doesn't really matter. That's just kind of filler songs. But like, I think everything was kind of chosen very carefully. Where it's like, you know, this isn't about just doing what's popular for today. This is going to be a movie for the ages. So,
Honestly, watching the film, apart from like, although not even, I was going to say apart from one or two of the haircuts, but they've honestly all come back into style. Like the fashion and everything, you would not know what year this film came out. If you said it came out in 2010, you could probably see it like.
The only thing that gives away is when the boys come to the game and they're all wearing bandanas and coloured sunglasses. That's
That
the
is
only
they give it away.
time.
But they're wacky characters too. So they're just like, maybe they're just mad. I did think though, there is another scene that gives away what year it is. It's very funny. Everyone is gathered in the house and a generic ringtone goes out and the entire wedding party all take out the same flip phone.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. I think I saw that exact same scene in Agent Cody Banks. You know, where like, and around the same time, it was like, you know, everyone had like the kind of a little polyphonic tune. Where it was like,
Yeah.
you know, serious people, or I guess Indian people in this scenario. I don't know what the joke really was in that.
Yeah,
That
it was
like
weird, but it was funny.
just the standard ring. Everyone has the standard ring. All these dorks have the standard ring, I think was the joke, maybe. I don't know. That was maybe a little bit like, yeah, this is the height of technology. We'll never get past this ringer, you know. But yeah, no, it was good. I enjoyed it, Will. I think for the first movie, I enjoyed it very much, and I look forward to the next one.
Will we end the show by giving it our ratings out of 10?
Ooh, our match.
Because then
match
we can see
reports.
at the end what is the best football movie at the end of the summer.
Yeah, you know, I think I'd give it probably a 6.5.
Oh, you read my mind. I was thinking 6.5 as well.
Well, there you go.
Had glowing review.
Well, like, you know, it's good. It's maybe I'm being a bit harsh. Maybe it is a
No,
7 out of 10 movie, but yeah, I think
it's not a 7 out of 10 movie. No way.
maybe. Yeah, I think 6.5 is fair. Yeah, you kind of put me off there now.
No, but I think 6.5 is going to comfortably be the highest rated movie of the summer.
There's a lot of good films out there. We've got a lot of good recommendations, you know. And like I say, keep them coming. If you want to see your movie, your favorite soccer movie, your favorite football movie, reviewed like this, then let us know. We're going to do more of them. And yeah, we've got a whole summer ahead of us of Club World Cup action.
Mm-hmm.
Once we
You'll
get
hear
past
that on the Ultras only episode this week, I'd say.
Once we get past the 10-0s and the competition really kicks off, we'll go back to that. But for now, we're going to stick with the classic movies from the 2000s, which are loosely football related.
And speaking of classics, I think it's time we can announce it, Kyle. We haven't officially confirmed it, but I think we both know in our hearts. What film are we watching next week?
Next week, we're going to watch Air Bud World Cup.
Hell yeah we are. I can't wait.
We'll find time to watch that
It's free
one.
on YouTube. You know it's good.
Good to know, actually, because I would have probably been searching for that for a while.
By the way, I will say, we've talked about this before. I just paid for this on YouTube instead of looking for a streaming thing. I was just like, whatever, I'll give you the €3. That's a good system.
Yeah, no, fair enough. So yeah, we'll be back Friday with more content. Probably Club World Cup. I think there's more games coming
Probably Club World Cup. Club World Cup, some transfery stuff, I'd say. And then the big stuff next
and then
week.
back to
Airbud.
the big tent movies, Air Bud World Cup. So look forward to that. And yeah, be sure to get in touch. If you have any ideas for categories, anything you want, we'll take it all on board. So yeah, have a great week and we'll see you later on. Good luck.
See you after.